Today we are going to talk about Retell lecture, which is the next question type on speaking and writing section after describe image. Now, as the name suggests, you will listen to a recording of a lecture. This recording could be anywhere between 60 to 90 seconds in length. After listening to the recording, you will get 10 seconds to prepare your response, and then in the next 40 seconds, you are supposed to provide a recorded answer to that particular question. You can see how the screen looks like. There's an image that will be provided alongside. There is this status box which shows playing when the lecture is on. You can adjust the volume over there, and in the recorded answer status box, you will be seeing that there's some sort of a status there as of now beginning in XYZ seconds, and as soon as that current status changes to recording, you are supposed to provide a response to this particular Retell lecture question type. You can see this is how the screen looks like on the actual PTE. They will give you an image on the left hand side, and sometimes they can even give you a video. So the image is always there to help you out. If you do not understand some part of the lecture, you can always fall back and relate to that image. You can see that there are two status boxes. In one of them, the current status is shown to be playing. You can adjust the volume over there. And when in the second status box, when the current status changes to recording, you have to start speaking. What about the scoring of this particular question type? Again, as is the case with most question items on the speaking section, there are three scoring parameters that will play a crucial role here. One is content, which carries 5 points. Another is pronunciation, which carries 5 points. And again, there is fluency, which carries 5 points. So, for every Retell lecture question that you attempt, you get 15 points raw score. This score is divided between speaking and listening, because these are the two skills being tested over here. You listen to a recording, you understand, and then you speak about that lecture. Now let's see some of the strategies that I recommend to my students in order to ace this item type. One thing that you have to realize is that nothing can substitute pure understanding. When you listen to the recording, I would urge you to close your eyes in the examination, try and focus on the content. Do not focus on the words, but focus on the meanings of those words. Try to absorb as much meaning of the lecture as you can, and once you've listened to the lecture, once the recording is over, you're going to get that 10-second window to note down all the important points, to organize those points, to organize your thoughts. And then when the recorder opens, you are supposed to talk about those points, elaborate about those points. Now this is an organic strategy that one should ideally be using. If you're weak in English, or maybe you have less time to prepare and you need to appear for PT Academic in a crunch situation, then there are some strategies that I would be able to share with you. The first thing is that while you are listening to the lecture, try and note down as much content from the lecture as possible. Yes, you will be given an erasable scratch pad along with a marker pen. So try and utilize the scratch pad and the pen. Note down as much as you can while you're listening to the lecture. Note down the key points of the lecture sequentially, so that later on, when you get 10 seconds to prepare your response, you are able to organize your thoughts accordingly. Strategy number 2, which also happens to be the common strategy across all the question types on speaking, is that no matter what happens, keep speaking. Keep speaking with good pronunciation, good intonations, that is good fluency, and be on topic. Even if you veer off topic, let's say 10-15%, that's fine. But you have to speak on the topic. Whatever you have heard or whatever you thought you heard, try speaking all of that for continuously for at least 35 to 40 seconds with good pronunciation and fluency. Generally, students who do this also end up with very good scores. So try following this strategy. The next important thing that you should remember here is that they give you an image. So in case if you do not follow what was there in the lecture, let's say if the accent was hard, it was something that you could not understand, let's say it was, because in PT you have all these accents, it could be a British accent, Australian accent, American accent. Let's say for some reason you did not understand the gist of the lecture, but the image is there to help you out. So rather than not speaking anything, at least try and describe that image. That will also fetch you some points. Who knows, you may get 1 or 2 points on the content and you do exceedingly well on pronunciation and fluency, and your score might just go up. So never ever leave this task because there was a brain fade or you could not understand the lecture. Just try and describe the image. If you feel that you are not able to gather your thoughts or maybe not able to form proper sentences over there, there's a brain fade moment, make sure that you use fillers in between and keep the communication going, because as long as you are on the topic, your pronunciation and fluency scores will be counted and will play a big role. So make sure that there's no gap in your fluency. You could just use fillers such as, furthermore, this lecture also talks about, you could say, in addition to this, the speaker also describes, moreover, the lecture also suggests that, something of this sort, but keep the communication going. So friends, now it is time to put whatever we have learnt into practice. So let's see one question. Let's listen to a lecture recording and try your best to attempt this recording following the strategies that we have just discussed, and then compare your response with the ideal response that we have provided.
The theory of deliberate practice took shape thanks to the Swedish psychologist Eriksson and his colleagues. Eriksson claimed that it requires at least 10 years and/or 10,000 hours and optimization within several constraints to achieve world-class mastery. Eriksson and his colleagues demonstrated the validity of this theory conducting an experiment among young violinists of the prestigious Conservatory of Berlin. With the help of the conservatory teachers, they divided the musicians into 3 groups. The first group was formed by the best violinists, those with the greatest chance of having a career in the best international orchestras. The second group consisted of good violinists, not as excellent as the first group but still very good. The third group was made up of violinists with lower performance level, who were interested in having a career as violin teachers. The objective of Eriksson and his colleagues was that of trying to understand what distinguished these 3 groups. To find out, they studied the daily routines and the past of the young students of the conservatory. All these violinists spent the majority of their time doing music. Then, where was the difference? The difference lied in the type of practice. Among all the different activities carried out by young violinists, one in particular was considered by them to be the most important one to improve: the solitary practice. Playing with friends, or performing, or having lessons, are all ways to practice. But nothing was producing improvements such as deliberate practice, carried out in solitude, with the express purpose of working on their own limitations and overcoming them.
The lecturer talks about the theory of deliberate practice. A Swedish scientist named Eriksson, along with his colleagues, put forth this theory. According to this theory, one must perform 10,000 hours of conscious and deliberate practice in order to achieve world-class mastery. This theory was tested on a group of violinists. It was indeed established that violinists who practiced alone with the sole aim of correcting their mistakes, made the most progress among the entire group.
Being bilingual means understanding and expressing yourself in two languages, and being able to convey your thoughts clearly in both. Being plurilingual means having these skills in more than two languages. In some countries, it's common for kids to learn two or more languages at a time and to use them daily to communicate and understand people around them. In fact, some kids grow up in places where 4 or more languages are spoken. In countries such as the United States, there may be a dominant language, i.e., the one used by the government, schools, and the community. With this in mind, parents who speak an additional, heritage language may face a dilemma: should we teach our children only the dominant language or should we try to raise them bilingual? Some research shows that kids exposed to several languages are more creative and better at developing problem-solving skills. Other studies suggest that speaking a second language, even if only during the first years of life, helps build cognitive abilities so that a child will have an easier time learning other languages in the future.
Being bilingual means having the ability to speak two languages. Similarly, being plurilingual means being able to speak more than two languages. In countries such as the United States, where English is the predominant language, parents are confused as to whether they should teach their children a second language. Research suggests that children who can speak more than one language are more creative and possess higher problem-solving ability. Also, if a child learns another language, it can help while learning other languages in the future.
Okay guys, so I hope these strategies will help you get good score on your speaking and listening sections, because Retell lecture is something that can help you improve your score on both these sections. That's it from my side today. Thank you.